So we thought we'd talk about how we came into SFWA. So, Stephen, when did you join, and
I
why did you join?
well, I joined because I wanted to get into the SFWA suite, or I wanted to be part of this thing that I was watching from the outside. Um, so I actually sent in my application after all three qualifying sales, but before they actually published them. So I had to wait actually around 6 months before I was qualified. But I came in as an active member. Why did I stay?
Yeah, why did you stay?
I stayed because it's a classic thing. Because they taught me how to go on. And I don't just mean that in the sense of how to be a writer or so on. I mean, in a way, being a writer is sort of a self-discovery journey. But how to be a professional really came out from my experience with them. Neil Gaiman has this thing about how do you become a genius, or how do you become a master or whatever. And he says what you do is you pretend. It's like an acting job. And what you do is you go and you say, so how would a genius act? How would they solve this problem?
Yeah.
And it removes the necessity for you to quote be that person. And after a while, not as a genius, but let's talk about a professional.
Yeah.
So just being professional in your manner and conversation and behavior. After a while, pretending or acting, you no longer have to act.
But that's that. Kurt Vonnegut has that. Be careful what you pretend to be, because you will become it. And so it's good. Yeah.
But the examples I used were all SFWA members. They were all great people. Jane Yolen was very influential as far as behavior and public attitude. Charles Sheffield. There were lots of people who were very kind to a person coming in. David Brin.
Yeah.
Lots of people. Neil Barrett Jr. Oh my God, what a wonderful person. Sat me down, did a one-on-one writing workshop with me. Sat me down and took the manuscript and turned it over and set it down and said, okay, now tell me this story.
Oh. Yeah.
And then every third sentence, fourth sentence, that's not in there. That's not in there. That's not. Taught me an amazing amount about how much information you do need to get in there. And that's always been my problem. Most writers I know tell too much.
Yeah.
And my problem has always been making sure I tell enough.
That you get everything that's in your head onto the page.
So, when did you join?
I joined in 2000 and I want to say 2005, but I applied to join in 2005 and they lost my application. They actually cashed the check and yet lost the application. So about 6 months later, I was talking to Vonda McIntyre, and I said, I don't know what to do. And Vonda said, you must write to the Western representative. And she actually did it. And I think within 3 days, I was I joined as an associate member. And the reason I joined was I had been to a writing workshop at Dragon Con with Anne Crispin, Michael Capobianco's wife. And Anne was very definite. She's just like, as soon as you qualify, as soon as you qualify with a short story, you join SFWA and you volunteer. And you volunteer because it makes you meet people. And she was, and she was one of the forces behind Writer Beware. I mean, she was very aware of the community and giving it forward. And when I joined, I actually had gone through a master's program at Johns Hopkins. So I'd been, kind of a literary writer, and I'd been with a number of literary writers. Boy, the science fiction community is a lot friendlier. It's a lot nicer. It's a lot kinder. The literary community certainly there were some wonderful people in it, but one of the things that I've always been impressed by is the idea of paying it forward, which is such a strong ethos in our community.
Yes.
And so
in our professional community, in our fan community.
Absolutely.
So,
and that's, I think one of the things, I mean, that's one of the things everyone should do, right? That should be part of life, is that you acknowledge, you help other people.
I think that also is another thing that's a little different between some of the other genres, and that is the ideas. You have the writers and you have the readers, but in fact, here it's definitely we are all readers.
We are all readers.
We are all part of the. We are all fans of this. Of this field, and so it's not quite this thing. Even though I must admit that was part of my motivation for joining SFWA, to not be part of the rabble, but I come to realize that no, it's okay to be.
It's
okay to be,
Well, I mean,
in any portion of this community.
Yeah, and I think that one of the things that's always important to remember is everybody's having their geek out moments, right? Connie Willis and Neil Gaiman are having their geek out moments. But perhaps fewer than the rest of us. But for me, there have been moments where I've been standing in a room with somebody whose books I read over and over as a child. I mean, it's fabulous.
Yes.